All right, let's dive into something really powerful today. We're going to unpack some of philosophy's biggest, most challenging ideas, all through a story called The Parable of the Mirror World. And trust me, it is a very Nietzschean journey.
So listen to this. They were the last men, comfortable in their reflections, never noticing that the glass was thick with the dust of dead centuries. Wow. I mean, that just sets the stage perfectly, doesn't it? It's this haunting picture of a world totally trapped in its own reflection. A whole society that's just comfortable, happy with conformity. And they have no idea how stagnant, how dusty their world has become. And this idea, this concept of the last men, you're going to want to remember that because it's absolutely central to everything we're about to talk about.
So where are we? Well, we're in the kingdom of mirrors. But here's the thing. This isn't some fantasy land on a map. No, it's a state of mind. It's a whole society built on one thing: what other people think of you. It's all about social approval and following rules that were written ages ago. Okay, so get this. The laws of this kingdom, they're literally etched into mirrors. But people aren't looking into them to see themselves. Oh no, they're looking for social validation. The mirrors are all inscribed with these old, dusty commandments. You know, thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that. And the only way to feel good about yourself is to see your neighbor's approval reflected back at you. It's a world completely crushed by the dead weight of tradition.
And who lives here? Well, now we get to put a name to them: the last men. This is a huge concept from Nietzsche. He saw the last man as the sad, final goal of a tired, worn-out society. These are folks with no big passions, no drive to overcome anything. All they want is a comfy, predictable life, safe, secure, and ultimately a life totally free of any real meaning. But you know how stories go, right? Into this world of quiet comfort, something has to come along and shake things up. And into this kingdom of mirrors walks a brand new figure, a total disruptor: the Wanderer. And believe me, she doesn't just tiptoe in. She arrives with a hammer of lightning and just shatters every single mirror. This isn't a quiet protest. It's a violent, radical explosion. We're not talking about reform here or a polite discussion. This is total annihilation of their entire way of life, of how they see the world and how they see themselves. And with all that glass shattered on the ground, the Wanderer makes this absolutely shocking announcement. She says that whole idea of a true world hiding behind the glass, a world with absolute good and absolute evil, it was never real. It was just a comforting lie, a bedtime story people told themselves because they were terrified to face the truth. That maybe, just maybe, the universe doesn't come with a pre-written rulebook. And this, right here, this is the heart of it. This is a huge Nietzschean idea. The shattering of the mirrors, it's a perfect metaphor for what he called the transvaluation of values. It sounds complicated, but it's really about this. You have to tear down the old moral system, all those thou shalts. But, and this is key, you don't do it just to be a rebel. You do it to clear the way, to make space to build something brand new. New values that actually say yes to life with all its messiness. Okay, so that sounds great, right? Tear down the old, build the new. But how? How does a person actually go from being a follower to a creator? Well, the Wanderer lays out a path, a 3-stage journey she calls the 3 metamorphoses. And here's the first really crucial lesson. To become a creator, you first have to become a destroyer. Think about that. Creation isn't born from peace and quiet. It's born from a powerful act of rebellion. You can't just slap a new coat of paint on the old building. You gotta knock it down first. And the path itself is just brilliant. So first, your spirit is like a camel. It patiently carries all the heavy burdens of tradition, all the good and evil it's been told. But then it has to transform into a lion. The lion is what's strong enough to fight the dragon of thou shalt, to roar no and win its own freedom. But you can't just stay an angry lion forever. That's not the goal. The final transformation is into a child. The child is a new beginning. It's innocent, it's creative, and it joyfully says yes to life, making up its own game as it goes. All right. The mirrors are shattered. The old rules are gone. What now? What does life actually look like when all that certainty is just gone? Well, it's 2 things at once. It is absolutely terrifying, and it is completely liberating. And the Wanderer doesn't just hand everyone a new improved set of mirrors. She doesn't give them a new, easy answer.
Instead, all that broken glass gets melted down and forged into something else entirely, a tightrope. A tightrope stretched over a bottomless abyss. That is the new path. It's dangerous. It takes incredible balance. And here's the kicker. There is no safety net. You are completely and utterly on your own. And this is where we get to probably Nietzsche's most famous and most misunderstood line. God is dead. In our story, this is that moment when the sun goes out. It's when the belief in some higher divine power that gives everything meaning just collapses. The entire foundation for the Kingdom of Mirrors is just gone.
So here's the ultimate challenge, right? To walk that tightrope, you have to look down. You have to confront the void. You have to stare right into the abyss. So the question is, what happens when you look into the abyss and it gazes back? What do you do when you realize there are no answers out there and that vast emptiness is looking right back into you?
But that terror, that feeling of the abyss staring back, that's not the end of the story. For Nietzsche, it's actually the opposite. It's the starting point. It's the necessary step you have to take to reach the ultimate goal, the rise of the Overman.
And the difference between the last man we started with and this Overman, it couldn't be more clear. The last man just wants comfort. He's a reflection of others. But the Overman creates new values. The last man is terrified of the abyss. The Overman dances on the tightrope above it. The last man needs someone else's sun to see. The Overman becomes a sun unto themselves. So let's be really clear about what the Overman, or the Übermensch in German, really is. This isn't some new king or leader that everyone is supposed to follow. Not at all. It's an ideal for you, for the individual. It's all about mastering yourself, about finally getting over that need for other people's approval and creating your own values that say yes to everything life throws at you, the good and the bad.
And that brings us to the final, ultimate test. It's a thought experiment called the eternal recurrence. Imagine this. You have to live your life, this exact life, with every single joy and every single pain over and over and over again for all of eternity. The test is, can you not only accept that fate, but actually love it? Can you will it to happen? Nietzsche called this amor fati, a love of one's fate. And for him, that was the highest possible yes you could say to life.
And that's really the final lesson of our parable. The highest magic, the greatest power, isn't waiting for you in the heavens or hidden in some true world. It's right here inside you. It's the power to command your own existence, to find your own rhythm, and to learn how to dance, even when you're on a tightrope stretched over a bottomless abyss.
So in the end, the parable turns the hammer back to us. It leaves us with one final question. If you were no longer just a reflection, if you shattered all the mirrors in your own life, all the expectations, all the rules you were just handed, what new game would you play?